Hello, everyone. My name is Tina Lehman. I would like to talk about the peer-to-peer reviews and the steps that need to be taken after the peer reviews are complete. The objective is to have a better understanding of the newly updated forms and newly updated processes. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. The process has changed in the number of reviews performed and when the reviews are to be done. The old process was 2 reviews were completed each quarter. That has changed to now 1 peer review is to be completed on a monthly basis. The champion will send these cases out for review by the first Friday of each month. The reviews are due back by the 3rd Friday of the same month. The second part of this process is that there is now a CEO report that will also need to be completed by the champion. This report will include the overall company average score, clinicians who are the top offenders, and the top 5 red flag items. And I will go over where to get this information, gather this information when reviewing the forms later. Once the report is completed by the champion will send that report to the CEO. The CEO will then review, identify the overall action plan for each of the red flag items, and then upload to ShareFile by the end of that same month for the compliance committee to review. The peer-to-peer review process document provides step-by-step instructions to the champion on the whole entire process, the score sheets, how to pull for cases. It's all in that same document. Okay, so let's discuss the red flag items within the peer review forms. There are line items that the wording is in red. These are the red flag items. And what the red flag items are addressing is the medical necessity, ensuring POCs are generated, and ensuring documentation supports interventions, codes, choices, charges. So let's go over each of the red flag items in the peer review forms by these categories. So for medical necessity, under the initial evaluation, the typed assessment here should support the need for skilled care. Under the progress reporting and reassessment section, for the assessment and factors, the documentation should demonstrate progression or lack of, and should document justification for continued care. For the discharge summary, the documentation should provide justification for the length of the episode. And also for the discharge summary, this section should still be scored whether there's a discharge note or not. So if the patient did not return for treatment and a DC note is not on file, you will still score the section. For example, you will score 0 if it was not done timely. So if it's already been over 30 days, still no DC, 0. For not supporting the reason for the DC, and then if the goes have not been abandoned. Okay, so for ensuring that the POCs were generated, we're going back up here to the initial evaluation section. Under the POC heading, simply was an initial POC created, generated. And down to the progress reporting reassessment was a POC generated for research. So for these 2 categories, and you can see they're highlighted here in pink, the POC research and the initial POC. These 2 items are scored differently. The weight of the score is different. Again, that's why they are highlighted pink. Each is worth 25% of your score. So if you didn't do your initial POC, here, 0 out of 1 correct, it's automatically going to bring your score down. Again, for here, the same thing. So if we change this to 0, you can see what it does to the score. It brings it down to 44%. So those are weighed differently. So very, very important. Also under the research section here is the Medicare progress report. It must be generated to restart the 10th visit count. So if one of those is not generated, that is a red flag item, and mark appropriately. For ensuring documentation supports interventions and code choice charges, we go up to the daily notes section. So there are 2 line items for interventions. One is ensuring documentation supports time units with parameters and techniques documented. And the second is ensuring that interventions are not repetitive. And if they are repetitive, the skill is demonstrated, it is documented to justify why. Within this section, clinicians should also be checking that the POC, the treatment plan, is being followed with the frequency and duration set, not performing interventions that are not part of the plan, and then if the treatment plan is still in effect, it's not been expired, and not treating beyond the plan. Under the daily notes section, and you can see there's instructions here, there should not be any NAs used for this section. So they should be scored either as a 1 or as a 0. Either it's there or it's not there. No NAs for this section. Also want to bring to everyone's attention that the columns and rows auto-populate now. So as you change your score, so it auto-calculates here, and then it also auto-calculates here. So your total score will show up as you change each of these rows and columns. So no more math, yay. Okay, so also new to the peer review forms is the red flags tab. This tab will help identify items that need immediate action. They are right out there, no digging down through information. They are on this tab. The red flags tab lists the clinician's name, the score, and red flag items missed, and follow-up training column. So once the review is complete, the reviewer will enter in the clinician's name, the score, and any red flag items from the peer review form that were missed. So this one, Medicare progress note, was not generated, so that needs to be copied over to here. So anything that is again in the red lettering, red flag item, if it was missed with a score of a 0, it will need to be copied from the peer review form over to the red flag items. The champion and or clinic director will provide the follow-up training. So the reviewer will not have to do anything with this column necessarily. It's just that they will need to fill in the name, the score, and any red flag items. The champion will use this information from this tab to compile the CEO report. And let's switch over. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second, and I'm going to switch over to that CEO report so you'll see what that looks like. Okay, so here is the CEO report. So from the peer reviews, the champion will compile each of the information. They will get the overall company average score. They will have the clinicians who are the top offenders. The top 5 red flag items. So again, the champion will compile all this information, the company, the audit month, and the quarter. So once that is complete, as I stated before, this will go to the CEO, and then the CEO will address each of the top 5 red flag items with an overall action plan for correction. So let's go back to the peer reviews. Okay, so on the instructions page, this is the same as it's kind of always has been, as far as the instructions on what to do. Answering key questions when reviewing your documentation. Contact name of your peer review champion will need to go here for any questions. But new is the time frames for the state regulations, practice acts on when assessments or reassessments need to be done, and then the CMS LCD guidelines for everyone's carrier, CGS, NGS, Noridian, Palmetto, Novitas, on the progress reporting at least every 10th treatment day. I believe Kentucky is the only one that states every 10th visit or every 30 days, whichever is less. So with Medicare, you have to be careful of when your 30-day or 10th visit is going to come first. So whichever is the more stringent, whichever is the more strict, is the one you have to follow. So if you're going to reach your 30-day here for Kentucky, even Oklahoma, Rhode Island, if you're going to meet your 30-day before your 10th visit gets here, then you need to do your reassessment progress reporting within the 30-day period. Vice versa, if you are going to go over that, then you follow the one that's more stringent, more strict. So gone over the red flag tabs, gone over the peer review forms, made it a lot more convenient for you guys to just look through. It's all on one page. It auto calculates. The peer review champion is the one that's going to be compiling the CEO reports. The CEO gets those to the compliance committee. The compliance committee meets monthly and goes over those reports, who will then make any suggestions or have training or whatever to the CEOs, reporting back and getting some feedback to those CEOs for any process changes or anything like that. So we'll be looking at policies and procedures, trying to make this the whole process a lot easier for everyone, more user friendly. So hopefully you guys do like the changes and the processes and everything that's going to be coming down the line. So if you guys have any questions, I believe everyone probably knows my email address, but if you do not, it's tlehman, LEHMAN, @goconfluent.com. Email me with questions, and as soon as I get those coming in, I will get with the compliance committee, get answers right back to you. So feel free to reach out. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you.